Shia LaBeouf has been arrested in New Orleans on battery charges, and the dramatic scene that unfolded during one of the wildest nights in the city is now sending shockwaves through Hollywood and social media alike. In the early hours of February 17th, right in the heart of the French Quarter, as Mardi Gras crowds filled the streets, the once beloved child star turned controversial actor found himself restrained by bystanders, treated by paramedics, and taken away by police after a violent altercation that witnesses say spiraled out of control in minutes. According to authorities, LaBeouf had been inside a busy Royal Street bar where staff say his behavior grew increasingly aggressive. What began as loud arguing reportedly escalated into shouting, pushing, and eventually physical violence. Employees attempted to escort him out of the business, but once outside, the situation exploded. Police reports allege that LaBeouf struck a bar manager multiple times with closed fists, walked away briefly, then returned and attacked him again. Moments later, another man was punched in the face, sending shock through the already chaotic crowd. Bystanders jumped in, restraining the actor as tempers flared and phones were pulled out. Videos now circulating online show LaBeouf shirtless, visibly distressed, struggling against several people, while others shout for him to calm down. Paramedics arrived first to treat minor injuries before police officially placed him under arrest. He was later booked on 2 counts of simple battery and transported to a local hospital before being taken into custody. The scene was messy, emotional, and public, exactly the kind of moment that has followed LaBeouf throughout much of his adult life. And for many fans, this arrest feels like another painful chapter in a story that has been unfolding for years. Once known as the charming, hilarious kid from Disney Channel who grew into a blockbuster action star in the Transformers franchise, Shia LaBeouf was once seen as Hollywood's golden boy. Directors praised his intensity, critics admired his raw talent, and audiences rooted for his success. But behind the fame, LaBeouf has long battled personal demons. Struggles he has openly admitted include alcoholism, anger issues, trauma, and self-destructive behavior. Over the past decade, his career has been punctuated by arrests, public meltdowns, controversial performances, and emotional interviews where he confessed to hitting rock bottom more than once. In 2017, he was arrested in Georgia for disorderly conduct after a drunken outburst that included shouting profanities at police officers. That incident led to court-mandated rehab, which LaBeouf later said helped him confront his addiction. He spoke openly about getting sober, admitting that alcohol had fueled many of his worst moments. But even as he worked on recovery, more trouble followed. In the early 2020s, LaBeouf faced shocking allegations of abuse from former partners, including musician FKW Twigs, who accused him of physical violence, emotional manipulation, and controlling behavior during their relationship. The lawsuit that followed made international headlines, painting a disturbing picture of what she claimed happened behind closed doors. LaBeouf denied the accusations, but later settled the case to bring it to a close without a trial, though the damage to his public image lingered. Many fans hoped the settlement marked a turning point. LaBeouf spoke again about therapy, accountability, and wanting to become a better man. He even made a quiet return to film projects, earning praise for intense performances that reminded audiences of his undeniable talent. That's why this New Orleans arrest feels especially heartbreaking for those who believed he was finally on a healthier path. Social media erupted within hours of the news breaking. Some users expressed deep concern, writing that they feared LaBeouf had relapsed or was spiraling again. Others were far less forgiving, pointing to his long history of violent incidents and saying this latest arrest proves he hasn't changed. Comment sections filled with heated debates: compassion versus accountability, addiction versus responsibility, second chances versus consequences. One viral post read, "I want to root for Shia so badly, but how many times can someone keep hurting people before we stop making excuses?" Another said, "Mental health struggles don't justify violence, period." Meanwhile, some locals in New Orleans who witnessed the fight described it as chaotic and frightening. Several said the actor seemed out of control, pacing, yelling, and throwing punches without provocation once tensions rose. Staff at the bar reportedly told police they never want him back at the establishment. Legal experts note that while simple battery is a misdemeanor in Louisiana, having multiple alleged victims, combined with video evidence and LaBeouf's past record, could complicate his case. Prosecutors may take a harder stance than usual, especially given public scrutiny. His court appearance is expected in March, where the next steps will be determined. But beyond the legal consequences, the bigger question hanging in the air is whether this moment becomes another low point in a tragic cycle, or the wake-up call that finally leads to lasting change. Shia LaBeouf's story has always been one of extremes. Extreme talent, extreme fame, extreme self-destruction. He's delivered some of the most raw and emotionally powerful performances of his generation, yet repeatedly sabotaged his own career through impulsive behavior and violent outbursts. Hollywood insiders have reportedly distanced themselves from him in recent years, uncertain whether he can be trusted on sets or in professional environments. And yet, time and again, audiences have been willing to forgive. They've watched his interviews about addiction and trauma. They've seen him cry on camera, admitting he hurt people they loved. They've heard him talk about therapy, faith, and wanting to rebuild his life. Each time, there's been hope that he was finally turning things around. This arrest now casts a shadow over that hope. Was this a relapse fueled by alcohol amid the chaos of Mardi Gras? Was it a moment of uncontrollable anger boiling over? Or is it another sign that the underlying issues remain unresolved? At this point, only LaBeouf himself and the courts will determine what comes next. But one thing is clear, this incident has once again placed him at the center of controversy instead of his work. And as video clips continue spreading online, the public is being reminded of just how quickly things can unravel, especially when fame, personal struggles, and volatile environments collide. For many, the most heartbreaking part of this story isn't just the violence, it's the wasted potential. Shia LaBeouf could have been one of Hollywood's greatest leading men for decades to come. Instead, his career has become a cautionary tale about how unchecked inner demons can destroy even the brightest success stories. Whether this arrest becomes another footnote in a troubled history, or the moment that finally forces lasting change, remains to be seen. But as of now, the world is once again watching Shia LaBeouf not for a new film role, but for a mugshot. And the tragic cycle continues. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.